Okay, I'm going to go through the legal disclaimer really quick. My name is Elizabeth Johnson. I'm a family law attorney, and the purpose of our program is to provide helpful information today. It's difficult, if not ill-advised, for us to provide detailed, specific advice, and the reasons that each of your cases are unique and fact-specific, and there are nuances and details that we don't have the time tonight or privacy to flesh out. So our professionals adhere to the highest ethical and professional standards, and we must be cautious about issues of potential conflicts of interest and fulfillment of our professional ethical responsibilities in a limited time format like this event. So that said, we'll do our best to give you important information that'll help clear up some of the confusion and uncertainty about divorce. However, some questions may be better suited to a private consultation with one of us. We thank you for understanding and hope you'll not be offended if your specific questions at the end cannot be answered, or if it's suggested that you do schedule that private consultation. As a final note, please understand that the legal information that we give is to be considered educational, informational, and general in nature only. And the discussion and question and answer exchanges at the end shall not create an attorney-client relationship and do not carry the protections of confidentiality that would normally apply. Patricia Van Haren and I are licensed to practice in California only, and that is the basis for the answers that we'll be giving. And I believe that Sheryl is also licensed in California. She'll let you know. So I will turn it over to her. Thanks, Sheryl.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Hi, my name is Sheryl Woodhouse. I'm a licensed marriage family therapist in California, and Elizabeth is correct. I only practice in California, but I can do divorce coaching, and therapy is only in the state of California. So our agenda today is to be kind to yourself, the how-tos of self-care before, during, and after divorce, effective strategies to navigate your new life and become more confident in your search for love and a healthier relationship. So I'm going to be talking about self-care after divorce, but I did notice that some people are on the other side of divorce and some people are contemplating divorce. So all of this will be applicable because we're all in different stages of life. People ask me, why should I talk about self-care and self-love during a divorce? That's just like time to put out the boxing gloves and to fight one another. And I'm here to tell you that's not really all the case. What the case is that divorce, contemplating it, going through it, and the end of it is the most stressful life event that one can go through. Besides getting married, retiring, illness and injury, or losing a loved one, divorce is right up there. So it's very important that you practice self-care during this time, as well as improve on your self-love. And boy, all of us can deal with that. All of us need better self-love. We're kind of brought into this world trying to compete and not accepting us where we're at today. And boy, during divorce, it's so important that you learn this more than any time, because divorce takes a toll on everybody. And so I'm here to say that divorce is a grief process, just like losing a loved one. And what that means is it's a roller coaster. You think that it's like the start of the roller coaster initially as you're going through it. It's like, oh, okay, this isn't as bad as I think it is. And I'm kind of tooling upwards and I'm handling it. I'm good. And then all of a sudden you get up and plateau, and it's like you're looking down below and you're looking at the people on the ground and maybe taking in the beautiful day. And you're like, okay, I got this. And next thing you know, bam, out of nowhere, it hits you that you're just traveling downwards. And you might be going upside down and feeling lost, and your stomach is churning just like on a roller coaster and going backwards. And then you come to a brief halt and you're like, oh, whew, this is it, it's over. And I'm here to tell you, and I know Elizabeth would say, it's not over. Divorce is a long process. You know, you have to wait at least 6 months at bare minimum in the state of California before you can really wait for that divorce. And it usually takes longer. So I'm here to tell you that you're going to go through grief for a bit, but you can do it in a wise way or not a wise way. And that is, look at this as a death of a dream. Okay, you might be the one that says, hey, I want this divorce. I'm not the one that wants to stay in this marriage. I get that. But you're still going to go through grief. And it's so important that you get that. And it's not linear. It's not, you know, all the things, the denial, the anger, the bargaining, the acceptance. It's depression. It's going to be the roller coaster. So just prepare for it. Okay, no matter where you're coming from. That's why we're here at Vesta, to be that support system for you guys, because you're going to have a lot ahead of you. So the thing that I want to say on the next slide is keep a sense of humor. Why? Because it's been proven that is healthiness for your soul. That is laughter is good for your soul. And you know what? We all get thrown so much at us in life, even if we're not going through a divorce, that if we don't keep our sense of humor, it's very easy to slip into anxiety and the what ifs and what's going to happen in the future and where's my money going to go? And we get lost. We get consumed in our divorce. And what does that do? It results in anxiety and depression. And it's been proven that if you get immersed in a sense of humor, in comedy during this time, it helps you with your self-esteem, and it reduces the anxiety and it reduces the depression. So I would say, put on a movie that makes you have a belly laugh, or look up a comedian, or better yet, get your bestie and go out to the improv and watch live comedy. But this is going to help you get through some of the toughest times. So our brains want to ruminate. Our brains want us to consume in the negative, okay? We're getting a divorce. Oh my gosh, I'm losing so much. How my kids are going to deal with this. And we don't really think about what we're going to gain, okay? Now that sounds kind of weird. People go, oh, divorce is horrible. It's all about loss. No, it's not. I'm here to tell you there's a lot to gain. And right now, I just want to stay on the ruminating. When people ruminate, their brain goes into this endless loop. And I'm here to tell you, put yourself into some type of action. Distract at this juncture of the divorce. Distract. What I like to do is I like to tell people to get online and find what we call a wheel of balance. They're all over the internet. You can pick out your one that you like the best. But what it does is it does basically a graph for you that says where you're sufficient for you in your life and where you're deficient. And that will give you that activity, that direction to say, you know what? I'm happy in these areas, but I'm really not happy in these areas. And I suggest you start to journal, just baby steps, only when you're ready. I understand it's a grief process, and there's going to be days you want to put the cover over your head, and that's okay to do, but don't stay in it. Don't let your mind ruminate and consume you and make you lost. You want to look at where you're headed to. So when you open this wheel of balance, start looking at your spirituality, start looking at your level of exercise, start looking at your friends and your health and all the areas that you can start setting goals, and start just writing down those baby steps, because those are the things you can work on as you go down the road of divorce. Now, I don't want you to forget the negative memories. I know a lot of people say, oh, be positive. It all needs to be positive. But I'm here to tell you, it doesn't need to be all positive. Why? Because our minds go into this magical thinking like we do as kids. If only I could grab on and make it different. You know, I can change things, but you really can't. So this is where negative thinking comes into play, but only for a time. And that means that you want to remember some of these negative memories. And I love to bring up Valentine's Day, because Valentine's Day is an ultimate magnification of when our expectations, our hopes are dashed, even when we're still in a marriage or relationship. Because how often has this happened to you? And I know this is going to be very stereotypical, but it drives the point home. Where as wife, you say to the husband, honey, it's Valentine's Day. Please, please, please buy me that tennis bracelet. That's all I want. Please do that for me for this Valentine's Day. And sure enough, Valentine's Day comes around and the husband has brought a blender or a vacuum. And for the husband, they go, honey, don't buy me anything for Valentine's Day. Please, I don't want you to do a thing for me. but I really would like you to take that Halloween costume we have in the closet, that maid costume. I love it on you. Bring it into the bedroom now and then. Do it for Valentine's Day for me. And sure enough, Valentine's Day comes around. What does he get? A tie or socks. Boy, does that build resentment. In bad relationships, that is more the norm than the exception. You got to remember those things because that helps you in the times where you're going, I'm so depressed. I don't know if I should have gotten divorced. They'll help you to remember you needed to get divorced. Remember those days where you begged for some of your needs to be met. I need to just take a shower. Could you please watch the kids? Or I want to go play golf. I want to go shopping. And your spouse would not let you because they had severe jealousy issues. These are the things you want to remember and document. So when you start to dive into depression or anxiety about it, remember those things, okay? There were negative things that led to irreconcilable differences, and you don't want to forget them. You just don't want to live in it. You want to visit it, okay? The last part of that was the constant bickering, okay? Before we get to the worst, I also bring up the relationships that have no emotion, no fighting, no love, no affection in front of the kids. There's no love there. That's pretty damaging to the children because guess what? You're role modeling what parenting looks like and love relationships and romance. And that's what they're going to bring into their romantic relationship in the future. So you can remember that sometimes making the decision to divorce and being in a happier relationship and your ex, them being in a happier relationship will role model what your kids really need to do right. So remember all these negatives. The time that you couldn't have me time and develop yourself. Remember those times that you were exhausted and there was no help whatsoever. Okay. But the worst is the absolute worst. And that is the constant bickering is bad. But when there's verbal or physical abuse between a couple in front of their kids, it severely not only emotionally damages them, but it affects their nervous system, sometimes for a lifetime where they have anxiety that they can't reduce. And it's literally considered child abuse in severe cases. And children are removed from the home because if the kids observe this, it creates what we call secondary post-traumatic stress. And it's incredibly damaging. So, you know what? Don't feel bad. You're doing the right thing. So now's your time to go to the gym. On your non-custodial time. Now's the time to go to play golf. What I mean by non-custodial, and I know the attorneys can explain this, but when you're not with the kids, instead of fearing that alone time, look at this as an opportunity to do the things you never had time for. That's where this is all really positive stuff. Everyone thinks, oh no, I'm losing stuff. No. You're not losing stuff. So let's now switch to about yourself. Where are you at? Do you love yourself? Do you love your own company? When someone asks you, are you alone? Are you with someone? Or do you think, no, I'm just alone? Do you feel bad about yourself? This is the time for you to spend with you. I understand that divorce takes a toll on most people because you're fighting a lot. Your spouse has probably said horrific things to you. And if not, they're not verbally and physically abusive, at least just the constant fighting and disagreement and not coming to some resolution has made it feel so bad that you just don't feel good in yourself, your body, your mind, your heart. So this is the time for you to love you. If you've never done it, you absolutely need to do it. If the marriage took a toll, you absolutely need to recover it. This is time for you to accept your humanity and listen to your heart and live authentically you. I can't tell you the number of people that have gone into marriage and they've put on a fake person, a pseudo self, we call it in therapy. They don't bring the real person to the relationship, nor does their spouse. And once the kids are gone, and there's really an emptiness happening, they're like, who am I? And who are you? And you actually didn't present the real you in the relationship. So it's no wonder that you end up in a relationship, and you don't want that to happen again. So you want to start looking at, what are you doing to feed your mind and your body? There's a strong mind-body connection that's been proven over and over again. If you're not living authentically and not listening to what your soul is needing, that mind, mental health goes off, and it also affects you physically. Stomach problems, headaches, unexplained illnesses. That can happen in any bad relationship of any kind. You need to look at that. So I encourage you to look at, how are you starting your day and how are you ending it? I would recommend that you start with a positivity jar. That means take a little slip of paper, stick it in a jar, write on it every day what you're grateful for. Okay? Everything. What you're grateful about your personality, what you're grateful that's been put in your life, what you're grateful that you've achieved. Put it in that jar. And every month, dump it out, review it, and remind that ruminating brain that you're good. Okay? So make sure you do that. Also evaluate who you're keeping company with, especially during this time of divorce, because who you keep company with in your family, are they functional or not? Your friends, are they negative or angry? Or are they positive and encouraging? Because they're going to be the ones that are going to coach you on whether you should get divorced or not. And a lot of people tend to pull back from their experiences rather than what the truth is about divorce. So you want to make sure that you put a good community around you, healthy people, not people that are taking you, let's go to the bar and let's drink it up, baby, and we're going to get that SOB. No, you want people that are going to go, this is your opportunity to be the best you. This is the opportunity for take time for you. This is the opportunity to do fun, enjoyable things. I have some people that go, I'm so sad I don't have anybody in my life. My marriage was my everything. Well, I'm here to tell you, as a therapist and as a divorce coach, I tell people all the time, it's never too late, whatever age you are, to make new friends. We're living in a time of social media that offers us so many interest groups. Meetup is one of them. I always recommend. And there's same sex groups. So where if you don't want to be with the opposite sex, you can go to women's groups if you're a woman, and men's group if you're a man, or whatever floats your boat. It's out there. This is the time for you to rebuild you, to be encouraging to you, not to put yourself down. Now, I understand some people don't have church, but boy, if you have any spiritual beliefs at all, it's time to get involved with that, because those people will be there for you. And if church means, worshiping, at a 12-step meeting and a higher power because you don't believe in God, that's fine. But at least it's a group of people that could be around you and be your tribe for the moment. So make sure you do that. If you need to volunteer to do something of interest to help your community, because when we help others, we feel good inside also. So all of these things can be in your toolbox. Okay. It's time for you during this divorce to move from the toxic, you've been breathing it in, that was defining you, to building yourself up and learning to define yourself by all the good that you bring. And also accepting the bad. We all have good and bad parts of us. And we've all done wrong things as well as right. But self-acceptance is so very important. So I want you to really look at your self-talk, okay? Are you what they call shoulding on yourself, okay? When we have critical parents, we tend to move into that critical self-talk. So what you want to do is start looking at things like saying, I'm human. We all make mistakes. Even though I have failed in this relationship, many a successful person has repeatedly failed and pushed through. I can do it, and you will do it. I have a support system. And any of you listening to this, you may not have an existing support system that you know. But right now, like Glenn touched on this, you've got legal, you've got financial, you've got real estate, you've got mortgage, and you've got the emotional component in Vesta. We're your team. We're here for you when you need that support. So if you're one of those people that say, I just don't have anybody, my marriage was everything, reach out to us. I can remind you of the things that you need to do to reestablish life moving forward into that new chapter. We're all here for you to do that. Okay. Now is the time for you to reparent yourself. Okay. Reparent myself. I'm too old for that. No, we're never too old to be that good parent to ourselves that maybe some of us never got. Maybe some of us listening today have actually come from abusive homes growing up. And so, hey, you didn't know how to do this, but now's the time to reparent. That means treating yourself the way you wished you were treated, whether it's in your marriage or in your childhood or both. You need to start doing that. So I want to bring up something. So many people say, I feel so guilty. I've damaged my kids, or I feel guilty because I really don't hate my soon-to-be ex, but I don't want to see them hurt. And I'm here to tell you that guilt is a wasted emotion. People go, what? Whoa, 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 whoa. Guilt is an emotion. No, guilt, you can't do anything about guilt. In fact, what it does is it heaps shame on you. And then you feel like your identity is shame, and it's not. What you want to realize is what you're convicted of. And that means if you purposely hurt your spouse, if you purposely hurt your kids, absolutely, you want to make amends for that. But I can tell you the majority of people do not go into marriage going, I just want to get married so I can hurt this person, or I'd like to have kids so I can wound them. No. Most people get into marriages because they're young and they're trying to escape from an abusive childhood, or, hey, sexual chemistry. How many people know that if the sexual chemistry wasn't there, maybe you wouldn't have gotten with the wrong person? Okay, but this isn't purposeful. Some people are afraid to be alone. That's why I'm talking about you. You've got to learn how to love your own company, because guess what? You won't tolerate having your own life, and you'll come out of neediness into another relationship, which you don't want to do. So yeah, we make all these bad decisions. Most people do, whether it's dating or marriage. You need to come to forgive yourself. The things you did wrong, make amends and let it go. The things that were out of your control, absolutely let it go. And it's time now to work on you. The more educated, the more prepared that you are while you go through divorce, it reduces the amount of money you put out. It reduces your anxiety. It reduces your depression. Okay. That's why we at Vesta do what we do, because we want to help you reduce all of the unnecessary costs, as well as all these emotions you don't have to necessarily go through. We're here as a team. So what I want to say in closing, just as a summary, is make sure that you journal during this time. Make sure that you goal set, even if it's little tiny baby steps to get to where you want to go. When you're ready, do it, okay? Make sure you journal all the things that are spinning in your heads about your house and your mortgage and real estate, and visitation and where the kid's going to live. Those are all incredibly important things that you need to be prepared. Knowledge is power. And that's what Vesta's here, is to help you have as much knowledge as possible. Okay. Use your talents and strengths. Embrace where you're at in your life. It's not too late to get a divorce. I think Greg would, not Greg, but Glenn would attest to, it's not too late to get a divorce and be happily remarried. He's talked about that on other programs that we've done. Volunteer your time if you can't find anything else to do. It will really warm your heart. Okay. Exercise, do the obvious things, meditate, do the things that are restoring your soul right now, because this is a draining time. I'm not going to kid you. Okay. But most importantly, be kind to yourself. Okay. Thank you.
Cheryl's on fire today.
Feel better already.
I love it. There's some good stuff in there, Sheryl. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I agree wholeheartedly that the emotional piece cannot be ignored. In fact, I believe it's the best advice I can give people. We can help here at Vesta with the legal process. We can help figure out the numbers. We're going to figure out the house, what it's worth, how much house you can qualify for. Can you afford to keep the house? We can figure out all that stuff, but the best advice that I can give you, and I think my colleagues would agree, is take care of yourself. And that means there's a lot of things. Sheryl gave you a bunch of great hacks. And a big thing is forgive yourself, because look, I believe that most people that find themselves getting divorced had something to do with it. Rarely do I think the person had nothing to do with it. But for whatever it was, and it's not going to get better, whether you're one that initiated or you're one that's on the respondent, forgive yourself and move on. Some people focus on the things that went wrong. How about a bunch of things that you did that were right for your marriage? But everybody, I believe, deserves to be happy. If you're in a situation where it's your job, your marriage, an endeavor that you're in, and it's not getting it better and you're unhappy, it takes courage to change your life. And that doesn't mean it won't be without some pain, but you'll be better off for it. So we're getting ready to stop our recording here. I say look for ways to take care of yourself, meaning